February 3rd, 2017. Where the hell did all the time go? I'm Dina, your host, nuclearproctologist.org. Good morning, everybody. Forgot to say hi to everybody yesterday, did I? Thank you, Deb. Jason, Lane. Hi, Lane. Hi, everybody. Neil. Mark. Good job, Mark. And so, here we are. Friday. Made it through the week somehow. Who knows? That's the way it works. We got lots of stories to cover from the week. And let's try covering some of them, I guess. In the breeze at some point. Here's what a repository means. It means at some point you're going to have an accident and you can never get back down there, and you'll spend the eternity trying to deal with it. And every time you try to create a spot to dump this stuff in the past, now you find out you're going to spend billions of dollars on each place to dig it up and repackage it, and you still don't know where to put it. It's unbelievable that 70 years later, the population still doesn't understand it's not like a banana. Yep, and they're never going to be like a banana. It was never meant to be like a banana. Oh, excuse I. That was a rough one. And so Rick Perry would have a conflict because he's been up to no good. All kinds of deep pockets for friends in the government, preferential treatment. But before I roll down that road here today, kind of want to talk about UC Berkeley for a few minutes. Milo. Now, I don't make controversies, whatever, statements without thinking long and deep and hard and looking way down the road into the future of the things that I say, and sometimes it's going to come back and bite you over and over and over, and sometimes it's not. But that can't be the factor. The factor has to be that you don't just come out and talk about everything and anything. You got to pick your battles. There's too many fights. So Milo is gay, and he reminds you of that every 6-8 minutes or so in his lectures, if not quicker. He starts off a lot of lectures with how pretty he is without makeup. And I went looking for context. I went looking for an editor or a Breberg. I went looking for someone that was articulating and intelligent. And I don't care if they're gay or they're transvestites. I have a friend of mine here who went through and become a transvestite and wrote a book about it. Blah, blah, blah. And it's just another person on the planet. It's not like you got two heads on your shoulders where you stand out or something and you're ostracized or something like that. You're not. It's irrelevant. It's normal. But what happened at Berkeley wasn't normal, was it? What happened at Berkeley? What happened at Berkeley was allegedly, I say allegedly because that is the reality. It never really had much to do with Milo outside of the provocateurs are following him around and utilizing him. Now, that's not an accident. This is on purpose. And we know there's 12,000 tweets of assassinate Trump. Yeah? And so what the system likes to do is control both narratives. That's where Milo comes in. He's not from America. And then he's from UK. But when you listen to his lectures, there's zero substance. You're not going to learn something earth-shattering or something that's not easily understandable on your own, using your own brain power. There's no epiphany. Now, he's supposed to be an editor, but I can start up a company and tell just anybody, a hobo on the street, and hire him. He's the editor. And now we got to treat him with some kind of super expectations, yeah? Milo is a he's a predator, and he's preying upon young boys at your universities under the guise that he's a lecturer, but his lectures are about how pretty he is. And so, like, we're living in this fantasy world where a university that probably deserved to get destroyed for other reasons, like experiments and radiation, lies upon society and the harm that it is created by covering up as public relation firms. But the women were attacked more so than the men, which is typical of Milo's events, because it's mostly gay men, right? The gay women are not going there per se under the context of hooking up with Milo. They're hooking up with other gay women, whatever. Who cares? But the women that are being attacked are Trump supporters, and this outrage is it's all orchestrated. It's all fable. This is a complete setup. Milo should be deported immediately out of the country for he's an agent provocateur. 100%. He's with Breitbart. Breitbart shouldn't even exist. Andrew died. Andrew's dead. Died when Obama was a couple of days before he become the president, right? And this group of mostly Israelis, Jews, have taken over Breitbart. Hence, you see Sarah Silverman tweeting out, with 9 million followers tweeting out about Milo. But even though Milo's up with Tucker Carlson and he got all these people putting him up on a pedestal, he's still just empty. He has no substance. He brings nothing to the conversation but pity him because he's gay and everybody's being attacked. But he's not going to the hospital to visit anybody. He's not outraged. He's like, well, I never got no dents in my pretty face. I don't know what big whoops about reality when he's an editor and should be worried sick. But even if he was to go to the hospital tomorrow because he's seen this, he still can't fake that true emotion. And so he's best not take a video when he's doing it, because I'll be looking from here on out. He's an agent provocateur and a very dangerous person to what he's doing to America right now. Send him back to Britain. Let them deal with him. He's not genuine. He's not honest. He's up to no good. Nuclear waste storage moves ahead, and others seek to relocate it. San Onofre has enough waste, nuclear waste, to kill everything on the planet. Everything. Every animal, every creature, every human, all 8 million species. Right. And San Onofre, wrong one. San Onofre is completely loaded. Criminal probe of the utilities many times. Settlements for stuff they've done. Billions at stake. They've robbed the country. They're storing it right on the ocean front. They're storing it. The pools. If one of those pools catches fires, bye-bye North America. Like, you people are absolutely out of control. The entire nuclear industry. They just killed the Pacific Ocean. And you have the proximity to the ocean, so there are 8 million people within 50 miles. Now, we've seen snowstorms, adverse conditions around these places in these tropical environments where you get cold weather, and you see the winds are blowing from the nuclear power plant, those stacks are 1 million gallons a minute coming out of them, or cooling water that was boiled off, right? That turns into snow in certain conditions. And they've seen streaks of snow for 50 miles because of that. And so, yeah, 8.4 million people will get heavy doses. Heavy doses. Not like Fukushima doses, but just as bad. Same material. Like Fukushima got 30 million one-ton bags. Let's keep going. You're ready, Dana. Buried radioactive waste. Removal 80% done. There's so many lies, so much deception going on in that headline. 80% done. Like, only the high-level waste is what they're after. They're taking everything else and putting it back down into the ground. They're literally insane. They're going to have to dig it up again in the future. You see $11 million, but when you read the whole article, it's $1.3 billion on that site. Trying to reliberate that stuff. You can't get it from the water tables that have ran past it, all the rainstorms, all the snow melts that have ran through there and swept away those isotopes into the environment. You can't change that. It should never have happened. These people have broken every moral obligation that the human species is supposed to have. With just one industry. Yeah, the nuclear has wrecked the entire planet. Can't see it or smell it, but that don't mean it ain't hell. It ain't gonna do ya. When you put stuff underground and you have an event down there, you can't get back in. If it goes into a chain reaction, at some point it will, it'll eat everything around it, atomize it, aerosol it, it'll find its way out. Like, nuclear has to be the stupidest thing we've ever conceived, or the most maniacal thing we've ever conceived, where we spend 70 years pretending it's like a banana. Yeah? 70 years pretending it's like sleeping next to somebody, or it's like eating a potato, or climbing a mountain, or flying on an airplane, or radiation is everywhere. When you hear these connotations, radiation is good for you, or potatoes, or sleeping next to somebody, bananas, these are murderers. These are highly educated, highly articulating, way more than Milo, people. And so tidal power could have solved everything. Sellafield, England. Think about this. 8 million liters a day going into the ocean down there. That's been liberated into your community. They could have done it with tidal power 50 years ago, 70 years ago at the same time. Nikola Tesla built the generators for Niagara Falls long before nuclear was created. The technology is there, still there, it's much better. You won't look at it because some reason we can't live without nuclear, but we can't live with nuclear. Is the reality of it. They are genocidal, homicidal, and they're carrying out an extinction event already in the Pacific Ocean just from Fukushima. And Fukushima is really something. But, like, once again, the tidal power we don't need solar, we don't need wind. It's okay, we can develop that stuff and utilize that stuff, but tidal power is consistent. The moon is not going to change. The tides will never change. Been doing it for billions of years. They're going to continue to do it. It's as reliable as everything that you consider reliable on this planet. As the sun rising every morning, the tides will rise and fall. And the energy is indisputable. Like, the waves coming in and hitting the shore create a pressure wave on top of that and gather air pressure. And you know how air pressure works, right? Very powerful stuff. There's many ways to suck energy without hurting the ocean. Not that it matters anymore, but they knew this. They insisted upon the genocide of nuclear. Japan has told Cameco they can't buy their nuclear fuel, which is Canadian allegedly, but Cameco's shares have gone down 12%. On the news that TEPCO is not going to buy any more uranium. Cameco is a Canadian company owned by a Swedish businessman. So it's not a Canadian company, it's a Swedish company. These people have polluted our lakes, our estuaries, our rivers, and our coastline with their material. And now the stuff from Japan that was bought here in Canada just came back over to Canada and poisoned Canada. The entire country. Can't see it, smell it, hear it, feel it, taste it, pick it up. But 10, 20 years down the road, the diseases, the illnesses, the autoimmune deficiencies that'll show up from it. Long before cancer. Yeah. And so there's 1,800 diseases show up before cancer does. They want to, in Canada, they want to put the nuclear waste, a handful of monsters, want to put the nuclear waste right alongside the biggest freshwater repository in North America. And the reason they're doing it is because they want it to, when it leaks in 100 years or 10 years, they want it to run down to that big freshwater where what they call it'll be diluted. You can't dilute radiation. It doesn't work this way. It never did. But that's just game they sold you, yeah? Anybody who says that nuclear is good, I've only think about what they're trying to do every time you look at them is they're trying to put the nuclear waste, which they admit is very dangerous, right alongside your drinking water. Which they admit is very important, and there's no way to replace it. And that the Earth's not full of clean drinking water. So why would you take the most toxic stuff on the planet, put it close to that environment, is because you know it's going to run into the water and that will deal with it in the future when there's no humans around. It's a way that you don't have to deal with it financially. It's a way of just pretending that it's not harmful. It's a way of pretending that you're not human, or a way of demonstrating you're not human. It's a way of destroying the entire ecosystem in one go. It's a sure way. It's a guaranteed way. There's no way to make a mistake with it. That's what's going to happen when you do it. And no matter how many people oppose you, no, we're going to do it. A handful of people are willing to destroy everything for everybody, and they get a big check for doing it. And you're going to sit there and take it. Yeah, well, I'm not. See, I banged back into him this morning, didn't I? Just like that. Boom, boom, boom. Dana came out, slapped him around, moved on to another story, not holding no grudge. We're going to build 12 reactors because there's no one to hold them accountable. We're going to build 12 reactors because there's no opposition allowed. They're going to build 12 reactors because they don't care. As long as they got some kind of job. It doesn't matter if it's shoveling shit. They don't care what it is. If it's selling out the country, it's selling out the country. If it's shoveling shit, it's shoveling shit. They don't care. There's no repercussion for them as long as they got a check. They're in a society where the majority of people live on $1 a day. They don't give a fuck. They'll build as many nuclear plants as anybody asks them to build or willing to give them the money. They'll employ people as far as they're concerned. They have streets full of children down there with missing arms, missing legs, no flesh, deformed, tiny heads on them. They don't care. They don't see that. They don't understand that. It's irrelevant. The people who are making the decision are making a decision based upon money, based upon financial incentives, based upon prestige, based upon the fact that people call them sir or ma'am. Based upon the actual fact that it's not like a banana. But they're told it's like a banana. And they accept it. Right? And you don't, I don't, we don't. He worked there apparently putting scaffolds up for 6 months. You know, I was a scaffolder years ago, using that exact same system that they're using. Very familiar with those scaffolds. All the homeless and destitute and the victims of society were sent up those scaffolds. That's what those scaffolds were for. So to get the most use out of the homeless, the destitute, the victims of society. He's not from Harvard, he's not from Yale, he's not from Berkeley. No one like that was working with him. He's not from Stanford or Oxford. None of those people were there guiding him. He was given a task where there's radiation rods, fuel rods everywhere. And the bombardment of X-rays, neutrons, and gamma shine is why he got the leukemia in such a short period of time. Why the cancer is normally the last one to show up. And it's part of the emittance. It's shocking when there's so many victims that they finally admit there's one. It must have hurt them to admit it. Man-made disaster. Where did they get those words to? This was a tsunami. Nuclear waste nearly complete. Just lie after lie after lie. Cleanup of the nuclear waste is nearly complete, yeah? They can't get it out of the cancer victims who live nearby. They can't get it out of the local estuaries or rivers or lakes or out of the actual water tables itself. They can't get it out of the children with autism or the people with diabetes or Alzheimer's or dementia. But they clean up these boxes anyway. Now they want to move the WIP. WIP, they spent billions of dollars already trying to get back in there after a little spill. So it's not bad, but you got to spend billions cleaning up. It's not bad. You got to spend billions to try to get back into the place where you cleaned up. It's not bad. It's like a banana. But you need billions of dollars every time something happens, because it's like walking in the sunshine and getting on an airplane. An airplane is an airplane is an airplane, which is not. UK will be outside. Now, they increased it from 164 million to 2.5 billion, but there should be no cap, period. So nuclear is too clean, too green, too cheap to meter, but they need a liability in case there's an accident. It's like walking in the sunshine, but they need a liability in case there's an accident. It's like getting on an airplane, but they need the liability in case it's an accident. It's like walking in the sunshine, getting on an airplane, sleeping next to somebody, climbing mountains. But you gotta have a liability for them in case there's an accident. And then in that case, who pays for it if they got a liability? That means you gotta pay for it. Because it's actually not like a banana, not like a potato chip or getting on an airplane. They're lying to you all day, every day, in every waking moment of your life, in every aspect, in every venue. From Hollywood, to your media, to your universities, to your academics, to your government. For 70 years, lie, and it's catching up. It's time to stomp them down. The Energy Department didn't account for $25 billion. How do you not account for $25 billion? It's pretty straightforward. So the nuclear industry comes up to you and says, we want $25 billion to clean up our mess. But don't worry, it's like a banana. It never affected your community. But we need $25 billion because it's like walking in sunshine. And we need to clean that up right away because you know how bad sunshine is. You can get sunburned, right? So we need $25 billion. But there's no health effect to worry about over the last 50, 60 years. Don't worry about that. No. We want $25 billion so that none of our employees are harmed because then toxins will be released from the ground as we're taking it back up. That's going to be spread throughout your community, but it's not harmful to your community. Yeah, it's harmful to our workers. We need $25 billion, but it's not harmful to the community or the environment or the ecological system around it. We need the $25 billion so our employees are safe, okay? You got a problem with our employees being safe? You big bullies. All Fukushima seafood samples passed a safety test. Jesus Christ. My God, eh? Nope, don't smell no isotopes in that one. Nope, no isotopes in that. No isotopes, false alarm again. That's the whole year. No isotopes. Unbelievable. Just knows. There was isotopes there. We'd know. The retards, the Japanese monsters, are claiming that in the last year, none of the seafood was contaminated, and the stuff that was within the safety limits set by the craziest, most diabolical, heartless, spineless, soulless, emotionless, vicious thugs on the planet. I'm just saying, right? 95% of them tested below 15 becquerels per kilogram. And the media is allowed to print that. This big fucking media is allowed to come out and print that with the staff writer. They're allowed to print that with nobody on the planet to hold them accountable, only you and me today. That's it. We're the only people ever to come out and say, I think you're lying. Actually, I know you are. I know you're batshit crazy. You're demented. You're twisted. You're fucking monsters to come out with that story. The industry is so heartless. It's so fucking heartless. It's so disgusting. It's so friggin' vicious. Unbelievable how bad nuclear. Anybody nuclear. Everybody nuclear that's pro-nuclear working, and anybody that works for the nuclear or got a corporation that supplies the nuclear industry are public relation firms. They take it upon themselves to tell you it's like a banana and a potato chip and walking in sunshine and getting on airplanes. And nobody will hold these people accountable. There's nothing on the planet that can hold them accountable. Yeah, there you go. Got lots to say about that one, did I? And what makes this so freaked up is that they're going to have the Olympics in one of the most radioactive places on Earth because of nuclear fallout. Cigarettes are insignificant, irrelevant compared to sucking in a single atom. And you put 2 million atoms on the head of a needle, you can't see it. You have to smoke cigarettes for 20 or 30 years to have a health effect. You take one isotope 20, 30 years, you get a vicious cancer or an autoimmune deficiency. And this is the brainwashing machine. It's despicable. You shouldn't be having any Olympics. It's absolutely unimaginable that you're even considering it. And now they're actually going to go ahead and do it. Yeah, they're totally out of control. But this is, like, you're sending 13%. Let me go back to that one. Smokers face tighter rules. Now, what makes this so fucked up? And I mean that in the worst way possible. This is where the Olympics is going to be held. Where they picked up 30 million 1-ton fucking bags. Which is just a tiny fraction of the radiation that landed there. It's an insignificant, but it's 5 rows of traffic around the entire planet. You're talking about 30 million bags, 30 million 1-ton trucks with a 1-ton, 2,200 pounds in the back of each of those 1-ton trucks. Bumper to bumper, scratching the paint off each other's bumper is 5 rows of traffic. Right around the entire planet. 5 rows of traffic. Like 5 rows of traffic is a friggin' lot of traffic around the planet. You agreeing? All these people are dead. These are the homeless. That's all he sent in there. The homeless, the destitute, the victims of society. And then 13% of the evacuees. The fact that they sent in 13% means that 13% can now sue TEPCO for damages that will show up in the future. It's a given. It's a guaranteed. Every study on every animal, the dogs died throughout the last 70 years. Humans
It was me that time.
We're not special. Outside it would kill the planet.
So every dog died in every study.
There's 144 beagles were given one inhalation, monodispersal. They weren't breathing it, eating it, drinking it, smelling it all day, every day. And then all the dogs died in every study. Gilmedi done for 35 years. If you look at what Harvard said, or MIT.
Of a release. I mean, there's been very little that seems to have been released and dispersed
of the isotopes. But these are the models showing the releases and the dispersals, but here's MIT telling you there's very little.
Beyond the containment. Now, unfortunately...
Beyond the containment. We'll get back to that after.
We have very little data, almost no data about...
Now, this was a couple of days after...
Of data about the health effects of radiation.
This was a couple of days after. But listen to what she's going to say about health effects. What they know about health effects. You just seen studies on dogs for 35 years. But listen what the expert told us when it come time to talk about it after Fukushima. They claimed there's no information.
Radiation come from a situation in which all the doses delivered in less than a minute. And so we just don't know how much radiation can be, what kind of contamination level can be considered safe.
Yeah, we do know. Gilmedi's study showed every dog died in every study when given that much. There you go. It's the same thing. Look at the bottom of the sentences. These findings in dogs. Yeah, but I mean, there's so many of these studies out there. It's just... like, I show you these studies to give you that comparison that it's not just Gilmedi doing these studies. There's major, unbelievable amount. And we've covered, I don't know, probably 1,000 studies on this site, I'm sure, of different radiation models. And so 2,500 people out of 20,000 went back in. That wasn't because they're educated or anything, just because they believed the lie. They believed that it's like eating a banana. They believed that lie from the experts, the murderers. I do that once in a while because I got shit cameras. So you can see, like, when I do my green screen, it's not very clean, right? I need a 4000K camera, and I'll be able to simulate myself into any background. At some point, I'll get it. I'll raise enough money. I don't even give a fuck anymore. Lavius Dan in line to be a deputy energy secretary. It's because I got so much on my plate. I got to get through. I got the 6th anniversary of Fukushima coming at us. I don't know. 200 million more invested into the right size. And this is Rod Adams. I'm yelling, I know. Rod Adams being picked up because we beat the shit out of him for 6 episodes. And now Forbes is shoving him down everybody's throat with this new technology of a Swedish company that got kicked out of Sweden and came here in Canada. And they want to make reactors. And Rod is the most... Rod Adams is a fucking low-life scum, man. Oh, man. What a freak. We got 6 episodes on him. I've covered him before, but we've done 6 there a few weeks ago in a row. That's how bad he is. That's how despicable that fucking bag of shit actually is. But anyway, $200 million to build uranium-fueled power sources. But what makes this even scarier, besides the fact it's a Swiss company coming into Canada and fucking Canadians over, because you can't do it in their own country. Canada's shaping to be an early adopter because we got these cunts like Milo coming into your country and fucking everybody over. Solar systems are inadequate. No, tidal power. He does this every time he opens his mouth. Wind and solar are not reliable. Yeah, tidal is. Wind is if you put it on a mountain. There's always wind on the mountain. Put your wind sources up high on the mountain, and then your windmills will blow 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter where the fuck you go. So what they're going to do with this new breed of reactors, they're going to turn everything into a hot particle. Right? And then they're going to create these breeder reactors where they're going to burn it and release it into the environment. That's what burning means. But you get to use everything because you converted it all to plutonium-239 because it accepted a neutron from the 238. That's what I mean. Rod Adams is the worst. He's the fucking worst thing on this planet for lying. Every fucking sentence in every story in every radio show is a lie. Every fucking thing. He's that good. That determined to fucking fuck us. Swiss to vote on government anti-nuclear energy strategy. This is where they're going to try to control the opposition again. So the party, the SVP, launched a campaign to gather signatures because they want to get rid of it, but they want to have a referendum. So the energy strategy 2050 was devised following the Fukushima nuclear disaster and is spearheaded by their energy minister and current Swiss president, Doris, right? Who said, hey, fuck that. After Fukushima, fuck it. And now you have this other party, which is obviously connected to the nuclear industry, is like Rod Adams people. The real bad fucking DNA on this planet. I don't think these people are human like me or you. They're definitely missing any chromosomes I'm familiar with. Now, under the plan, new nuclear power plants will be built in Switzerland. And the 5 that do exist, the world's oldest operating reactor, will be decommissioned at the end of their technically safe operating lives, which is about 30 years. So if it's the oldest one, it's already past its safe operation. But the IAEA, UNSCLEAR, ERPA, Atomic Energy Agencies will all go to bat and, oh, Jesus, it's fine. We can open it for another 40 years. But they're just a bunch of people that are beholden to the nuclear industry. They survive by doing exactly that same job every day. And in order to do that, you got to have 6 times more breast cancer around a nuclear power plant. 90% more leukemias. But you should be looking for diabetes. You should be looking for autism. You should be looking for heart, liver, lung, respiratory, pituitary, adrenaline. For Alzheimer's, dementia. Before you look for cancer, because cancer is the last one to show up. You should have got rid of it when you had the opportunity. Currently 39%. And 56% is generated through hydropower. They can replace it all and have it all back to hydropower like it used to be. It used to be all hydropower. But you got tidal power because you're Switzerland. Anywhere by the ocean, you got tidal power waiting. Which is like this technology was Nikola Tesla, long before nuclear even showed up. Nikola Tesla invented this technology. That we're still using it today. And it still works, the same system. Russia fixes a reactor that initially refused to say it was broken. Now, what pissed me off about this one more so than anything else was this advertisement you see showing up. Uranium prices to rise. Right? Trying to loot people that came there to read about it. Suck them in while they're there. Right? This is a trend we're seeing on these nuclear stories where these types of ads will show up. Uranium prices poised for a violent rise type over and over and over and over and over. It's really insidious. Every aspect, every facet, every minutiae of the minutiaes of the nuclear industry is deceptive, deceitful, and full of the known connotations. Oh, it's like walking in the sunshine and eating a banana and sleeping next to somebody and eating potato chips and climbing a fucking mountain and getting on an airplane. Like, if you said that in front of me, I don't care who you are, you got a fucking serious problem on your hands. The minute you opened your mouth and said that in front of me, I'm going to fuck your day up real bad. If you use fuel, see what I highlighted up there to stale, does not go stale and get less hazard with every moment it spends in storage, right? When they want to come up and find a way to make money off it in the future, they'll say stuff like that. Yeah? They'll admit the truth. But if not about that, then, it's like a banana getting on an airplane, sleeping next to somebody. But here you see it up there, $31 billion on the table. Hey, it's not going to go stale. We're going to make that money at some point. Right? WIP looking to increase in placement by spring. They're only taking 5 truckloads a day into one of their back alleys. They're fully dressed in all the equipment to do it. It's because they haven't got another licensed facility and they want to keep putting shit down there because they're out of control. They're getting billions of dollars and billions of dollars each year to get back up and running because they had a harmless radiation release is how they described it. They couldn't get back in there for 3 years because it's harmless. They had plumes come out when they were over the local community and said it didn't happen. They even put my video on the main news, right? Because I came out and bludgeoned them and said they had a truck fire. But if you have a truck fire in a mining shaft with 55 football field size caverns, 55 football fields. So you have all these ductworks and fans and ventilation systems, and all the air comes in one way and goes out the other way. You get on the other side of the truck, you put it out. You don't abandon ship for fucking 2 weeks. And then they hadn't been back down there for 2 weeks because of a truck fire. Where there's 55 football fields. It should be all strangled publicly. Should be beheaded publicly. Should change the law so you can behead people. Just so we can get rid of these fucking cunts. No, I mean that. I don't mean a bad. I'm from Newfoundland, so sometimes that word slips out of me. It's not a derogatory. I love women. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about it. So I got to learn not to use that word, but gets away from me sometimes. Okay. TEPCO scraps the uranium supplies. That's her. That's it. That's what we got today. That was the show. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. There's a long show.
Not near Baghdad. Don't believe them. They are nowhere. This is
silly. This is what the nuclear industry, but Gilmedi studies showed us every dog died in every study, right? For 35 fucking years, every dog died within 5 years. So it's not like a banana, is it? Not like walking in sunshine. And for people that are still trying to just join into the stream and don't know much about this, I'm Dana Durnford, also known as nuclearproctologist.org. And what I went and done was I done this entire coastline of Canada on the little dinky over there with another little dinky on the roof. That's not in that particular picture. And I went out and done species counts, bird counts, insect counts for 260 days and shows an extinction event in the tidal zones, which is the nursery of the Pacific, throughout the entire Pacific coastline. And I just meandered along the coastline. And these are all authentic pictures before and after. And we have an extinction event from Japan's melter reactors. It buzzed through that for you. You can go over to the Nuclear Proctologist and you'll see a video on the front page back to this site, but it'll give you a deeper explanations of that expedition, right? And that'll help you understand why nuclear, it will die, why nuclear has to go, why the million crazies have to be, and are at this stage now being destroyed, right? The demise of a million nuclear assholes, shitheads, are the million owners of the corporations that are keeping nuclear alive that are out there lying, manipulating, deceiving everybody is this million corporations that are dependent upon leeching on the nuclear industry forever and ever and ever. And that is you, right? They have to rob your country of wealth, rob your country of every freedom so that no one can oppose them. They have to impose censorship on everybody so nobody might accidentally slip out there. They have to control all your media, and they do, for 70 years in order to keep the lie alive, in order to pretend it's like getting on an airplane or sleeping next to somebody or eating a banana or a potato chip. But meanwhile, every study showed every dog died year after year. And so these are vicious fucking thugs. All of them. And they will kill us. They have already destroyed the Pacific Ocean. I'm not kidding. I'm not making it up. I'm not misrepresenting what happened. I'm stating it very clearly. It's proven. It's documented. It's in increments over 6 years. Now every whale is starving to death. Is emaciated. Even the killer whales, which can eat everything, are emaciated. Millions of birds washing up, starved to death. Every animal out there we're finding in mass dying from starvation. We're in the end times. And those distractions, like Berkeley, Rod Adams, and people like this, their days are numbered. Their reality are going to be destroyed. They're going to wake up one morning and they're going to say, my God, what have we done? My goodness, what have I allowed to happen? I was used to wreck this planet. I was used as an idiot, as a useful idiot. And I done it willingly, not able to comprehend what was going on. Maybe you did. Maybe you're genocidal. I have to wonder sometimes, are people naive? But when I look at people like Milo and Rod Adams, they don't come across as naive. And when I dissect them, it's obvious they are not naive. Now, I watched everything that I could, or say everything I can to get that message out there, but it's never enough. It's never enough. I have to keep coming back because you got to wake up. You got to fight for this planet. You got to make Earth's last stand. You better do it soon. Hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody Monday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hugs for everybody. Take care, folks.